Hello friends, today we will talk about Maha Shivaratri. Maha Shivaratri is the great night of Lord Shiva. On this particular night, people pray throughout the night without sleeping. And what happens when you pray throughout the night? It is believed that the God will bless the devotee. But practically, what happens when you stay awake throughout the night and pray? Nothing happens. No, there should be something happening. Yeah, the next day you will be feeling asleep because you didn't sleep the previous day. Is that all? No, there should be more to this. In what aspect is there more? First of all, let's try to split this topic into two. The first one is Ratri, Shivaratri. Ratri means night in Tamil also. So what is the significance of night compared to the day? This is the first topic to be addressed. And what is the particular, or what is the significance in particular with respect to this Maha Shivaratri? Why should someone be awake is the second question. So there are two questions. One is why night? The second question is why should we be awake during the night? These are the two major questions which need to be answered with respect to Maha Shivaratri. First of all, to understand the significance of night, let's try to look at the universe as such in general. The sun gives light. Standing from the earth, if you look at the sun, you can see the sun giving sunshine, giving light. This light is reflected on the moon, and it appears that the moon is also giving light. Even though the sun is not there, the moon shines in the night. Yeah, the moon gives light, the moonlight. This is just a reflected light, but one, when looking at the sky, would say, this is moonlight. The same metaphor is applicable to the Hindu philosophy. So in Hindu philosophy, not in Hindu religion, they are different. In Hindu philosophy, there is only one concept: consciousness is God. Consciousness, or the spirit, is God. And this spirit has got some energy, and this is matter. So one is spirit, and everything else combines together to form matter. So in case of Shiva, Shiva is consciousness, and Shakti, which is power, is the divine energy. That's why they are always as pairs, Shiva, Shakti. This is the fundamental concept of Hindu philosophy, coming or originating again from Siddhanta. Yeah, Siddhanta. What is Siddhanta? Siddhanta is the concept that everything in the whole world, whatever you see, is within the man, within the human being, within each one of us. This is Siddhanta in simple lines. So even God is within us. So anyway, looking at the metaphor of sun and the moon, the sun can be equated to the consciousness or God. The sun is equated to God, and the moon is equated to the human mind. The mind appears to be different from the sun. However, it does not realize that it is receiving the light from the sun or consciousness. So I'll repeat again. The sun is equated to God or consciousness. The moon is equated to the human mind. We all have a mind. This mind appears to be illuminated by itself as individual objects or individual minds. However, in reality, it is not the case. This mind is illuminated by the light of the consciousness. So, going back to the sun-moon principle, what happens during the night is that, or this particular Maha Shivaratri, this great night of Shiva, is that when the moon comes in line with the sun, and when someone is looking at the sun and moon in a straight line of view, then he would realize the moon does not have any lights on its own. That's it. The point in time when the human being realizes that the mind is not functioning on its own, or in other words, when he realizes that the mind is not valid anymore, then he understands the importance of consciousness. This is the reason why Maha Shivaratri, the great night of Shiva, is highlighted in the Puranas, equating the concept of the human mind and consciousness. So this is the significance of the night. And why should we be awake during the night? If you just be awake during the night, nothing will happen. I was brought up in a village. I have been awake during Maha Shivaratris. People used to pray and we used to play. Around 3 o'clock they serve food. I happily used to have that food and then go to sleep at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I have done that. Then why are we asked, or why do we practice being awake in the night on this particular night? So for this, there is another great principle behind the story. Okay, I'll try to explain. The normal human being is aware of 3 states of consciousness. the words appear to be very complex, but I'll try to make it simple. When someone wakes up in the morning from the bed, he is said to have a waking consciousness. His senses are awake, his mind is alert, he is ready to do the work in this world. This is called waking consciousness. When he finishes all his work, he goes back to bed in the evening. Sometimes, before entering deep sleep, he enters into a state of dream. He dreams, and that state is called dream state. In this dream state, the mind is alert. Senses, no. Yeah, during the daytime, we eat, we smell, we do everything with the mind, also with the senses also. But in the dreaming state, the senses lose their grip, but the mind is alert. And then, if you lie on the bed like that, you enter into a state of deep sleep. In this deep sleep, even the mind is lost. When I say lost, it is somewhere, but we do not know where it is. We are not aware of the state of mind. So, in a sense, we are unconscious. So, a normal human being is aware of these three states. These three states are called, the waking state is called Jagrat, the dreaming state is called Swapna, and the deep sleep state is called Sushupti. So, these are the three ordinary states of human consciousness. But there is one other state which is the basic state of consciousness, which is active in these three states and also in the fourth state. I repeat, there is one other state which we are not aware of, which forms the basic state for all these three consciousness plus the fourth state. This is called Turiya. This Turiya this Turiya comes after the deep sleep state. So, one goes to bed, he dreams, and then he enters into the deep sleep state, and then he enters into the Turiya state. This Turiya state is called as Thungamal Thungi Suham Kanbadu by the Siddhas. This is a fourth state. People just call us Turiya or just the fourth state, or this Thungamal Thungi Suham Kanbadu by the Siddhas. This particular state people refer to in many ways, but this particular state is not easy to explain or describe. It's not easy. In Bhagavad Gita, there is a very great saying. If you look at the internet, I mean, people have interpreted this in a different manner, but without understanding the logic. For a yogi, it is daytime for the yogi when all others sleep, and it will be night for the yogi when all others are awake. I think it is in the 7th chapter. I don't recall. This is a statement in Bhagavad Gita. What does that mean? People say the yogi is alert and he is thinking about the goodwill. No. This refers to a particular state which I mentioned earlier called the Turiya. This Turiya, this state cannot be explained. There is an Upanishad called Mandukya Upanishad, and it clearly states that this particular state is unrelated, incomprehensible, undescribable, whatever. Inexplainable, unexplainable. This state cannot be explained. So what are we supposed to do? There is a fourth state and we do not know. I'll try to give an overview of how this Turiya state will be in reality. The Upanishad says it cannot be explained. It is true. This cannot be explained. But I'll give you the circumstances how this will be. Just imagine you are sleeping in deep sleep. Suddenly you wake up. When you wake up from a dream state into the normal consciousness, what you are doing is you are coming back to your senses and mind. If you wake up from a deep sleep state, you are waking up into a conscious mind and an alert sense. But the difference in Turiya is when you wake up in this Turiya state, there's a difference. When you wake up in this Turiya state, you will see that your body is in deep sleep. That's the difference. You are awake, but you see. When I say see, it is not using the physical eye. You will know through your mental eye that your body is sleeping. This is one example. Your body, you are awake, but your body is fully asleep. You can call this as an out of body experience as well. This is one of the reasons why in villages, at least in India, they say you should not wake up suddenly a person who is deep asleep. Because maybe you have noticed there is a jerk in the physical body when you wake up someone. They say that the Atman or the soul enters into the body very rapidly, and that's the reason for the jerk. It is true. It is true. So when you wake up in this Turiya, this is one way of explaining it. You will be aware of what is going on in this Turiya state very consciously, perfectly consciously. But when you wake out of the Turiya state into the waking state, you will not remember anything. Everything will be lost. This is one of the reasons why it is not a dream. Dream is different and Turiya is different. In the dream state, the mind is actively involved. What is mind? a register of memory. So this mind registers everything. So when you see a dream, the mind actively participates in the dream. It stores everything. When you wake up, you will be able to recall what you saw in the dream. Whereas coming out of this Turiya experience, you will not be able to get anything back, because you have to access the contents of the Turiya state using your mind, because now you are in the waking state. That is not possible. So what is the relationship between this Turiya state and the night and the moon? I already told you that the moon, though having been identified as the source of light in the absence of sun, when it comes in the presence of sun, the charm of the moon is lost. Likewise, in the presence of this supreme consciousness, or this Atman, or the self, the mind will be silent. It cannot grasp what is present in front of its view. This is why there is another Upanishad called the Isa Upanishad, and this Upanishad says the mind, the Atman, is swifter than the mind. Though not moving, it moves very fast than the senses and the mind or the devas. What it means is, this Atman or the self or this Turiya state is the essence, and the mind cannot even grasp the contents of this Turiya state. So this Atman, this is the Atman we are talking about. This Atman also referred to as the Turiya state. So Atman is one thing, yeah, the core of us. This lives in three states: waking, dreaming, deep sleep, with one physical body, of course. This Atman, as it is living in three different states, is also called as Tripura Sundari. This is one of the reasons why the state of India, one of the states of India called Tripura, is named after this Tripura Sundari. So what is the relevance of all these things now with Maha Shivaratri? Maha Shivaratri is a day where people are asked to come out of their deep sleep state into the Turiya state. So what we are being asked to do is to be aware of the Turiya state, which is beyond the deep sleep state. Or in other words, we are asked to awaken in the Turiya state. But this has been loosely been translated, or maybe this has become over the period of time, that we should be awake during the night. of Shivaratri. No. It is just another day. Just being awake does not bring you anything. It cannot. But the whole logic is that with having a pure mind, again, this is the essence. Pure mind, purity of mind is the essence for everything. You will wake into the Turiya state, and then you will realize, and again the end result will be, you cannot explain this. This cannot be described. This cannot be. You will see a lot of things. You will enjoy. It is bliss. This is the nature of Brahman. Sat Chit Ananda. Yeah? You will experience everything. But the mind cannot grasp it, and you will not be able to recall it or explain it. May Lord Shiva bless you all. Have a good Maha Shivaratri.